다 되게 초대라 가는 레버 덤바데 니 참는 지 레버 덤바데 가는 다 잡선조 아니 잡선조 차디 타서다 아니 잡선조 차비기 질라 아니 지 가서 주 냠는 제거 하더니 냠는 제거데 다더니 당가라 속에 냠는데 가서 하더니 탈위기 람당 되위기 냠는 제트 거 하더니 탈위기 람당 되와 용태 냠는 제나 탈위기 람당 되만 되니 봐 요마라 냠는 제타 마시나 근데 인데 탈위 람당 되위기 되니 가서 가서 탈위 람당 되와 탈위 람기 질라 잡아 어떤 저거 가서 나타니다 가서 참여 제냠스 렌파테 시기를
And so then once we have gone for refuge, taken refuge, sought refuge, then what we come to next is engaging in the practice. And then what we're looking to do is to traverse the path of liberation, to traverse the path to liberation. And so what we're looking to practice is all those things are related to this path, the things that are related to the path of liberation. And so the next chapter we come to here is the four immeasurables, which directly relate to this path of liberation.
Gabi Situ, Tangim Chetsongi, Rola Panshi, Rong Semjamos. Terem Tarvi Lamdam Manjena Sendratin. Terem Lamdam Manjena, Sombi Nipa, Shetis Bijes. Tarvi Lamdam Manjeswaina, Karachapare Senatini, Sipagi Jetini, Sombi Nisena Kavaretini, something in it to Soravatini, Zikamgatini, something in it to Sombi in Nisagaret. What to Sola for Jechambles? They answer Pankobi Nirva. And
so now in our text, beings who are vessels of Dharma, having taken refuge, should think, scattering compassion's flowers on the ground of love, with the cooling shade of joy and the clean water of equanimity, I will train my mind for the benefit of all beings. When these four have not been joined to the path to freedom, causes of samsara, or in the four Brahma realms, will be taken up. Because when they will be taken up. And so if we do not join these four immeasurable to the path of freedom, then what we will be doing is we will be accumulating the causes of samsara, to be accumulating the causes of staying in samsara. We have, even it says, when these four have not been joined, these are not joined to the path of freedom, they will become the causes for rebirth in the four Brahma realms. The four Brahma realms are still within the form realms, and they are still within samsara. They are not transcendent of samsara.
Nyangje yongken, Jamba yongken, Gawa yongken, Tanghim yongken, Dekarsen, Jiga yore. Yena Tejika Chalme Revesen, Chalme Marese, Hakoson, Nigi Hakure, Chalme Jeyo Mars, Nyangje, Gawa, Tanghim, Jamba to Yores and a Kosola Yore. Hakoson, simply Mongola to Yore. Yena Tosola, Jamba Chamil, Gawa Chamil, Nyangje Chamil, Thunder Ugaten, Toso Yores and a Toso Yomares. Toso Yubercheva, Tabi Lam to Yundan to Hakugures. 다지시바이바 진진 시비 그때니 대파고 그랬어. 하고서 어떤 늦지나 아니 다밀람당 제가 착각했어.
So we have these four immeasurables, these four immeasurable practices. There are actually the four immeasurable practices of immeasurable love, compassion, joy, and equanimity. And actually there are many people in this world that don't know about the Dharma that have this. They have love, they have compassion, they have joy and equanimity. They have all four actually. But they don't have what's called measureless love, measureless compassion, measureless equanimity. They do have it, but they don't have it without limit. In order to come to this immeasurable love, joy, compassion, and equanimity, then we must know the qualities of liberation. We must really understand the path to liberation. As we were saying before, to have this authenticity arise, then one needs to have know the reasons. So these foundational practices here of love, compassion, equanimity, and joy, and so on, they must be fused, embodied, embraced with the vast mind of bodhicitta. So the vast mind of bodhicitta that thinks of all beings, so not just for oneself, not just for one's close ones, one's family, being able to have this love, compassion, and so on, but for all pervasive beings. And to whatever extent one can extend these feelings, these attitudes of love and compassion, joy, equanimity, to the furthest extent that you can generate this and embody this in your own mind, to that extent will be the profundity of your practice, will be the profundity of the Dharma. And when it pervades all, without any exception, this is what is called limitless compassion, or immeasurable. This is why they're called the Immeasurables, because they are without any limit. The Rinpoche And so within the 8th chapter of this text, resting, the great perfections resting in the nature of mind, then is on the enlightened mind of bodhicitta, generating the enlightened mind of bodhicitta. And within this chapter, then it talks about the two kinds of bodhicitta, the aspiring bodhicitta and the engaging bodhicitta. And where does this aspiring bodhicitta come from? What is the source of this, actually? Well, we can take it back to this 7th chapter and the 4 immeasurables. The basis, the foundation of bodhicitta comes from the 4 immeasurables, the practice of the 4 immeasurables. And that's why then we have this that we're looking at here now in the 7th chapter, which will lead to the enlightened mind of bodhicitta in the 8th chapter.
시고 남지선비 되는지 서비스들은 다시 참여지 우리는 다 이루어 주니라 남바 근처 문제 무관면 남바 요지 좀 선조하나 우리는 마다 문제 참비지 너는 다르고라 주니라 경계는 진전지 나가셔 대화 뭐 등등 진양도가 집중 열라 여러 정도 좀相当 제가 왔던 남바데 도를 등급들로 가통 먼저 세뉴 리롱도 검수 거름이 밤에나 영어 동보 가서 도마 땅인데 얘랑 냠니 데니 jan선 검수 다데가 참이 적은 나오니 당보데 가르고는 그랬어 냠는 지나 당보 검나더니 제땅 있나다 검수라더니 거름이 봐 이거 말했어 가르고는 그랬어 검수 거름이 밤에나 영어 son도 같은 검수 그 거름들랑 이봐 이거 말했어 있나요 리 당보가 강사가 당보 땅님이 냠는 제거야 돼 되니까 쓰나 개천벌에서 가르스는 당보 땅님때 가서 착당라서 ညွန့် 거를 왔더니 되니 가서 닝기 쇼나 착바당 자기 쇼나 컨트롤 당와 지거를 왔더니 착당고 쇼스 마홍바 착당고 쇼스 마홍바 로테 파 ညွန့် 거를 와 ညွန့်데 다서 로 땅님 착성아 있나 아니 ညွန့် 좀 검토를 와 근데 가와요 검토를 와 로 땅님 마찬가지 검토를 해 아, 데스칼리오스 말해. 하하. 로 땅님 자고 요서서. 로 땅님 마찬가지 데스. 로 땅님 마찬가지 근데 자라 형제 검거나 검토 그래. 데스칼리도 와. 땅님
Here we come to the order in which to practice these four different immeasurable practices. Where do we start? Well, generally it's said that wherever we start is okay. And as it says in our text, though the order of the meditation is not fixed, beginners should start with equanimity. And so actually, when we're new to this, when we're new on the path among these four immeasurables, we should really start out contemplating the first and practicing and training with the first, which is equanimity. And why is this? Because before we, in the beginning, we are attached to those that we have preference to and the things that we have preference to, and we're averse to those and the things that we really don't prefer, that we don't like. And so when we don't have an equanimous mind, when we don't have like an equal balance of looking at all, then it's hard to generate the anything immeasurable. It's hard to work with one of the other ones in our minds if we can't look at things with kind of an equanimity. For example, let's say you had someone you really don't like. They're, kind of an enemy. They're, is really someone you don't get along with and you don't like. Is that going to be someone who's easy to generate compassion for? So likely not, Rinpoche said.
장당나 소파텔라 되니까서는 당보 땅님이 로마잖아. 하고 데스까지 갖고 요사를 같은데. 맞서 가서는 되니다. 소소그 가서는 되니다. 가서 그랬더니 소소그 뿌게당. 나 소소그 낭만다고. 근데라 다 잡아본 터그러 왔더니. 잡아체 터그러 와. 옛날에 소소그 뿌게당 낭만다 너가 쟁겐데라. 잡아체 터그래. 근데 색깔이 왔어. 근데 그래서 되니까 가서 당보 땅님도 정화 됐더니 잘라더니 당와대 파 로 땅을 왔더니 근데 얘가 착과대 대 착당되니까 되니 파 뉴바지 정바 있나? 착당되니까 되니까 쇼림에 봐서 그라 쇼림에 봐 되니까 파 뉴음터가 된지 그 로든지 장비 그 깍들라더니 가서 나오다 센첸 상마대 가서 나더니 찍바에 막라더니 된저게 되니 ramshenchi tenikasana lo jila jigyores lo jung samma teni jandaimba da kasang shiba imba gaso kasang gar shiba samma diwando ba jikwa imba digmyondo ba jikwa imba samma marikpi wangla song yu ba jikwa imba ra tega wangga chadong jung biyo ba da deji jimsen de haku gwa ba jimsen ni de haku de ne lo dangnyum chi se de yang teni haku gre tangnyum lo jung de ni ro ba jin da so so ge 때문에 그거 당원 너무 지고 많이 봐. 대리더니 잘라 소반을 받창게도 솔라요. 가르스나더니 다 당이 물어도 제대로요. 진짜 가르스는 형지 그래서 님모 요원라 송발했을 때. 뉴모 바가 마시바 차단가 장원라 송발에 삼능가랑 속에 대라 삼시 제대로요. 삼시 세야지거든. 삼시 지달이 아니 드네지 좀 맞는데 가르스나. 로장한테 그것을 봐야나 다 되게 당님 됐다는 가르스나. 님 그것이나 던지 받으리
So what we need to do here in the practice of equanimity is we need to learn to balance out our mind, to look at all equally, not to fall to any kinds of partiality or bias of a preference or averseness at all. For example, let's say for our family and our children, the ones who are really dear to us, isn't it easy for us to feel love for them?
Yes.
And how about when somebody hurts them or does something bad to them? Is it easy for us to feel the same love for them? So not so easy. But what we need to really do when we're training in equanimity is look to bring this into a perfect balance, looking at all without any preference, without any partiality. We need to see all beings as the same. And remember, we have discussed this a little bit earlier, all beings want exactly the same thing. They want to be happy, they want to be in a good situation. Nobody wants to be suffering or in a bad situation. But all beings then, due to their delusions, being deluded, then they suffer. And so we should really contemplate that and contemplate that well. And we should look at all equally, not only our family, not only our loved ones. We should look to extend the same compassion to all beings. If they do something that is hurtful or causes harm, then we should look at this knowing that poor being, poor guy, not knowing and being deluded out of their delusion. Look what they're doing, and we should generate compassion, and we should be considerate to them. And actually, we should look to be able to extend the same compassion and consideration with no bias equally to all.
나한테 검색을 받았네. 검색에 갔습니다. 그러니까 지금 좋아지니 니 당선 생각 좋아지스나 소소거든요. 니다 어떤 마다고 찍대. 소소가 아마다고 찍대. 아마다고 찍니 되니까 갔습니다. 아니 아마테 되니까 갔습니다. 가서 그랬더니 등에당 잔도 그랬더니 놓지 마라. 아니 니다 아니 섬 아니 예트찍 생각하려랬더니다. 그래서 아메리칸으로 그랬더니 엄마들이 예트찍 아니 롱찍 잠바랑 차상으로 봐. 아니 롱제 생각 아니 똥찍라 아니 똥섬 똥 직된 차상으로 봤더니 똥섬 직된 건나 보면 리치 차버고 보면 네 될라더니다. 참매 잡아야 했습니다.
And then we come to the way to train in equanimity. We come in the text on the way to train in equanimity. So it says, contemplate thus, meditating on one being, then two, then three. So we can start with that one, thinking of our mother and thinking of the way that we would want to separate our own mother from suffering. And so we can, for example, if we're working with that particular contemplation, think of our mother and how we would like to separate her from suffering. Then bring it to two, then from three. Then you'd bring it to, one village or town, for example, this village. Then you would extend it to one continent, and then to the four continents. And then you would extend it from that to the thousand-fold world, and then to all the worlds. And so in that way, when we have trained in that way, that's when it comes to be without limits, immeasurable.
근데 지대는다 맞은데 가서 그랬더니 참에 차야 돼. 참에 때 양재 참에 지기다 다시 해봐야 소소 맞다고 지 라더니 대화당 then 아니 딩가당 전도지 아니 델리카스나 아니 마르마 따야 되랬으니 마르마 따라니 파마르마 심진 지지니 지아지니 똥을 받은 아니 똥이 되니 장매 비고 심진 성마데 대화당 딩가당 전도가 어떤 적이더니 로직지라 지바이나 나테 로데 차이를 했다 차이를 말하다 어떤 지지 참을 봐서야 되는 거지 참을
And so that was one example, but we can take this training, that was an example of compassion, we can take this to love as well, and we can think just in the same way, oh, may my mother be always happy. Start with that one person, and really generate the feeling that you really wish your mother to always be completely happy. And then take this to your father, for example, then take it to another person, then take it to 10 people. May they all be completely happy. Generate this even further, extending this love further out. May 100 people have complete happiness. May 1,000 people have complete happiness. May all people in the world have happiness. All people in existence have happiness. Is there any limit to the amount of beings? Is there a limit to the number of beings that there are? So in this way, actually, your love becomes limitless because you are extending it to limitless beings. Your love becomes immeasurable, limitless.
된지고 지가 속에 지나 알아서 그로게 연된데가 차이요 말아 하고서 영지게 때문에 차리용더니 참여가 착으로 된지고 전바양 참여가 아니 가와양 참여가 땅님의 참여가 어떤 지대리나더니 가서 된지고 참여비게 가서 연된지다 소소질라
And just as there is no limit to this compassion that you are extending or this love that you are extending, there will be no limit to the qualities that you will achieve, no limit to the qualities that will arise in your mind. You will have the limitless qualities arising through your immeasurable love, your limitless love, compassion, joy, and equanimity.
다든가 참미지 다든가 참미비 연된지 일라 아니 네 된지되네 지바이나 다 되게 파인 차이여러베 되게 파인 대응 가서 참매 받지 되니까 파인 참매 받는 동물에서 된지 모르겠다 되게 파인이요 잠좀 지바에서 참매 받는 거였어.
So through the practices of immeasurable love, compassion, joy, and equanimity, in your mind will arise the limitless qualities. And from these limitless qualities will arise benefit. Will that benefit be with any limit? That also will be without any limit. The benefits are actually beyond comprehension.
다당가서 참미 지고미야 연된지가 단들라 가서 니네도 나랑 된지죠. 니네도 연된도서 담지 열에다 요 말세나 니네도 예니 연된도서 된지죠 봐. 하고서 니네도 나더니다. 연된도서 예니 된지죠 봐래서. 이 남자 빼장 세계요. 남카가 좀 봐 연나요. 맨나면서 차발만 들어왔더니 남카 하더니 가서나더니 남카가 좀 봐 가세지 연나요. 남카가 니마 땅 다와 땅 까마도서 그 예니 더니 그 런적스도 열에 다가 남생가 나와서 그랬더니까 셈일라 연단 담지 예니 런적이었어. 근데 이따다 니릭도 나랑신 렌지 좀 생각. 니릭도 나더니까 남신 거 런적있었다. 연단도 소요 말했어.
And so then the actual nature is spontaneously accomplished. So the practice from the four immeasurables, through the practice of the four immeasurables, it says that it is spontaneously accomplished, spontaneously present. And I give this example all the time, that whether there are clouds in the sky or not, the moon, the stars, the sun, they are always there, they are always present. They have been spontaneously present at all times. And in the same way, these very qualities have been of our nature, of our mind, have been spontaneously present.
다 심진도서 상마다 찔거나 지금 등급에 단나 드니 마스리 요바데 드니 상가 땅거였어. 딱 그래서 찔거나 지진 죽것이 등근다서 미냐래 타왔어. 데라 탄도 12세메다 데니 등근들인가 탈거래 너 지금 상도에 가서그 상도 따시그래. 심지만 뭐때 따시그 말이야. 어떤 데라 되니까서 델리 탄도 12세메라 양덕 람톤 게위시형 가서라 양덕 람톤이 게위시냐 요 말이야. 근데 일단 타면 그런 장가 형래지 어떤 지지들이 양지
Though they want liberation, they have no peace of mind. They have no spiritual friends to show them the proper path. You should pity those wandering endlessly in samsara. Having seen this, could you neglect and abandon them? So, all beings in samsara and nirvana, or all beings in samsara, they only want happiness. They only want the way to liberation, but they don't have the kind spiritual master to show them the way. They don't know the way. And so they are completely trapped in this endless process of suffering. So seeing their suffering, you should have compassion, and you should think, oh, how terrible, how pitiful, how awful for them.
다 돈이 가르쳐놨더니 다 참밀시 세야 될 가르쳐놨더니 너나더니 다 짐리니기 냠슬랭 그래서 제스나 가라 제스나 돈 사이니 탁바로 받더니 지버세나 주 도지 탁바로 봐 아니 델란 돈나 도니 난다 마이 난다 너가 니기 냠은 그때 지레스 냠은 제그레 지부터 했어.
And so then we have both the causal vehicles and then the causal vehicles of the sutras and the resultant vehicles of the tantras here, and we have both of the ways of practicing.
야, 다더니 저기 탁바서야 되게 가르쳐 그래. 저기 탁바서야 되겠더니 그 저기 뒤에 그러 왔더니 그 말이야. 제대겠더니 뒤에 번도 받더니 짐지기 탁바라고 했더니 저기더니 탁바서야 되고 저기 제대가 가서 뒤에 받더니 사원 그 니가 제바 kileng 봐. 어떤 누구도 그랬더니 제대가 저가르서나 잠바당 영제라서 봐. 제대가 가서나 딱 가서나 다르게 되는 주고 괜히 되는 토바 답당 셰럽세고는 주고 괜히 되는 concept 토바 왔다 된진도 그래서.
And so when we have the view of the causal vehicle, is they believe that a result will come. So from a cause will come a result. So for example, due to the seed, then the result will come. So according to the causal vehicle, they believe that through the causes of love and compassion, then the resultant fruition comes forth, such as the accomplishment of the two kayas.
주변 탁바가 가르쳐는 가서 그래. 다 되게 찐sam지가 kileng 그랬어. 참여제도 찐sam지가 kileng 그랬어. 찐 텔라테니달이 뜨니다니다 드파셀바타우지라 찐 텔라테니달이 컨설트. 냠는 저기요 봐. 근데 이제 되는데 찐그 남바던데 지가 kileng 그랬어.
So the causal vehicle believed that those four immeasurables were seeds that led to the result. However, within the tantric resultant vehicle, they take the four immeasurables, love, compassion, equanimity, and so on, they take them as conditions. They are conditions that lead to clear away that which was already. So they clear away obscurations to reveal what was already present.